think that I said anything worthy of that level of explosion.
Your rationalization of both sides, you have to understand, since Kurt's death, there is no both sides anymore, Jessica.
Why did the DOJ take down the study that showed how much right-wing extremism?
What study was that? Which one? The one in The Economist that was sponsored by a group run by a guy in Antifa? That study that has been discredited by the Federalists? You're walking down a really bad alley right now.
What happens when a heated national tragedy turns into another cable news battlefield? That's exactly what unfolded when Fox News contributor Jessica Tarlov clashed with Greg Gutfeld over a recent deadly incident at an ICE detention facility. The segment quickly escalated beyond policy debate and into a sharp exchange over accountability and political rhetoric. Critics on the right accused Democratic leaders and media voices of falling back on what they call the both sides defense whenever political violence erupts. During the discussion, Tarlov argued for broader context and cautioned against blanket blame, while Gutfeld pushed back forcefully, insisting that patterns and ideology should not be ignored. The back and forth was fast, pointed, and unmistakably tense.
And it has become too common to hear words like that. And that is a both sides problem. And last week we went through the litany of times that Donald Trump has used that rhetoric, and the fact that he came out after Charlie Kirk's tragic assassination and said the radical left did this, and then we heard a chorus of "we are at war." And that does permeate the entirety of American society, that they hear that from the top. We don't know
garbage.
that much.
That is absolute garbage.
It is
Continue. When something terrible happens when somebody gets murdered, you are saying, how dare you be enraged by it? Continue.
No, what I say is, how dare
I'll give you the both. No, Jessica, I'll give you the both sides. I agree with you. There is both sides. On one hand, you have the hard left, and on the other hand, you have the left.
Why are you
They're both sides of the same coin. Because you walk into this room and you're not reading it. There is no both sides. You don't have the evidence for that.
That's not true.
You can't say that Donald Trump says this. You guys act on it. You guys act on it. We don't. What do you want?
What do I want? I would like to talk about the specifics of who Vance Bolter actually was, since we fought about that last time. Because you make it out as if this was just that he knew Melissa Hortman.
Let's focus on this thing now. I'll destroy you on that later. But focus on this now.
You want to go back? Focus on this now. This looks like a kid that was inflamed either by the leftist cabal, or maybe he used his own eyes. And maybe he saw what's going on. Maybe there are people in his community who are being picked up by people from ICE. Maybe he saw raids at Home Depot. The common denominator in all of this is that we have young men, usually young white men, who have access to these guns and are carrying out these tragedies. They are nihilists. They live online. And again, do you think it's normal that people are writing on casings anti-ICE? They think that
The broader disagreement centered on how violence is framed depending on the suspect's background or ideology. Some conservatives argue that when attackers do not fit a particular narrative, coverage becomes muted or cautious. But when they do, sweeping conclusions follow immediately. Liberals counter that extremism across the spectrum deserves scrutiny and that selective outrage exists on both sides. The debate intensified as questions about statistics, per capita analysis, and ideological motivations surfaced. Religious rhetoric, secular politics, and cultural divisions were all pulled into the conversation, transforming what began as a specific incident into a wider culture war clash about values and responsibility.
Yes, I actually did see, Jessica, I did the deep dive on that study. That study was authored by a project that was run by a guy who says he was an Antifa. That is why that whole thing has been scrubbed, okay? It's real simple. You label someone a fascist or a racist or a Nazi, it makes you free to attack them, and that has been the ideology from the start. It's weird.
So why?
No. Let me talk.
Trump does it.
What?
Just tell me why it's okay.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Great. I'm enjoying this.
Okay. You won't be for long. The left calls Trump a hate monger. They have called me a hate monger because I ridicule the left. I ridicule protesters. I ridicule academia, Hollywood, the news media. I make fun of The View every day. I make fun of the UN. Guess what? no one acts on the things that I say because my side doesn't do that. We say people are stupid, we say people are wrong, but we don't say they're evil. That is your game, okay? And then you come and you say, okay, man, this is a mentally ill loner. Well, who do you think does this stuff? It's not Ben Affleck. It's not Tom Brady. It's not even Carrot Top. People who do this stuff are always that way. The question is, who points them in that direction? Why pick ICE? Why pick Kirk? Why target TV stations and put bombs under Fox trucks? Why vandalize memorials? Why kill kids in Catholic schools? Two things can be true. A person can be mentally ill and you can be guiding him to that place in his life. That is how brainwashing works.
The most contentious moment came when a Department of Justice study was cited regarding trends in political violence. Supporters of the report argued that data should guide the conversation. Skeptics questioned methodology and potential bias, suggesting that government findings are often embraced or dismissed depending on who benefits politically. That tension exposed a deeper issue. Trust in institutions has eroded so significantly that even official data sparks suspicion. Ultimately, the exchange wasn't just about one incident. It reflected a broader national divide over media framing, ideological accountability, and whether calls for unity are sincere or strategic.